Hey everybody. Okay, so welcome to Candor with Katy. So tonight we're going to talk about Slab City. It's a with all of the things going on in the world right now, seriously, I don't want to be that serious. My job requires me to be serious and stuff, but there's just too much shiz going on, if you know what I mean. So tonight I thought I would talk about this really interesting place called Slab City. So what's interesting, like it's just a very different place. So I'm always intrigued by, when we can get back to traveling and whatnot. And my sister and I have talked about it, and we're thinking, will we travel to this place and look at it? I don't know, because I get disclaimer, I guess I need to say, I've never been there. I've never seen it, so I can't really tell you what it's like. But I think I might be a little bit afraid of this place. So I just want to talk to you about it, and it's interesting. It's different, and I'll show you some things. So here is where it is. It is located in the California desert. It's close to Arizona as well. So here is where it is. It is, if you guys can see this. Oh, I can't even find where I'm at on here. It's just, you see that it's northwest of Yuma. It's north of Mexicali. It's just like northeast of San Diego. Like there it is. That's where it is. It's just out there. And so it's just this little tiny place. Oh, is that Kabir saying hi? It's in the middle of nowhere. It's very strange. And so I first heard about it on a podcast, and the guy was talking about it and his experience there. And you can rent Airbnbs there. And I apologize because I don't have pictures of the Airbnbs yet, because I just didn't have time. Like it always seems on Tuesdays that it's my biggest day, So it is it's labeled a city. It's unincorporated, which means that it's not governed by a municipality. So there's really no rules and regulations and laws and that kind of thing. And it says that it's lawless, but I'll talk about that in a minute. So it's a very strange place. Okay, here's what it is. I've got my little notes here. Okay. And if you guys please comment on it, or if you've ever been there, if you ever want to go to a place like this, let me know, because it's very strange. So on a map that I just showed you, it looks like any town, USA. Here it is. If you look at it, boom. And then if you do like, you go to like Google Earth or whatever, it's seriously, it's like a grid, okay? But there's no paved streets. It's all just dirt and stuff, okay? So, it's got names like Dooley's Lane and Tank Road and Fred Road. I don't know how common that is. Okay, it's on 640 acres of public land that's about 15 miles north of the U.S.-Mexico border in Imperial County, California. And there's an Imperial Highway. Those of you that live there, have been there, Okay, so during its peak in the 1940s, it's on a site. It used to be a former Marine Corps base, okay? So it was called Camp Dunlap. So in its peak in the 1940s, what this Marine Corps camp did was it tested cement slabs to see, so hence the name, to see how it could withstand the harsh climate of the Sonoran Desert. So they tested all this different kinds of concrete and stuff, okay? But by the end of World War II, the government shut down the operations. I have no idea why. And noticing an opportunity. Now, this is interesting because there have been other bases that have closed, including Roswell, New Mexico, where I'm from, right? They closed the bases down, and suddenly people didn't just go start living there. So I think it's interesting. So as soon as the government shut it down, these people noticed an opportunity, and squatters, you know who those people are, the people that live there for free, soon staked their claim on the area, building a hodgepodge of residences using the concrete slabs that remained, coupled with whatever materials they could find. So here are some of the things that they look like, you guys. Here's one. I mean, do you want to live there? It's so funny. It's so funny because I heard this on a podcast and I looked it up and then I started getting these weird vibes and I was like, ooh, I don't know, but I don't want to be an asshole and just be like, okay, well, I wouldn't want to live there, so it's a horrible place. I mean, if that's your thing, that's your thing. But these are the types of places that the people build. And so there's no electricity, there's no running water, there's no much of that's not much of anything there. It's very interesting. Okay, so so there was a guy named Charlie Haley who set out to deeper explore what was known as the last free place. Okay, so he made this book called Dispatches from the Last Free Place. So I should probably get this book. So it's also the end of the road for many. This is what's interesting. So it doesn't have official electricity, running water, sewers, or trash pickup. Okay, Slab City dwellers also live without law enforcement, taxation, or administration. So do you think this is a good idea or not? Okay. Built out of concrete slabs, Camp Dunlap is oh, you already said that. It has all these interesting things. People live there and they sort of want it to be like a city and together, but there's also these different little neighborhoods and stuff, which I'll kind of talk about in a second. These people went in there, showed that they have Tai Chi on the slabs every morning. They have this thing called Don't Fuck Around, which I don't know what it is. You'll find RVs in conditions ranging from luxurious roadworthy to immobile. Okay, shelters that are made from pallets, like the wood pallets and palm fronds. Okay, so in the 1940s, Marines learned how to fight a war, but in slab cities, civilians resort to their own wartime survival tactics. This is interesting. So they call it a new city on a hill built by the self-chosen, and it's an inversion of manifest destiny, which is interesting. But because in this case, that would be like mostly about self-rule, which to me, that's exactly what they want, right? So these people went around. They were walking around. They were looking at the book. They were like trying to interview people, but not really, kind of keeping to themselves. And they just said that people. They were kind of looking at the boundaries and the grid of it, and the people didn't really pay attention to them. They were just like, whatever. They thought they were people doing surveys from the city or whatever. And then some of them didn't seem to be too happy with the fact that they were there. This is the thing that would make me nervous if they're in this community that's like lawless or whatever. Because, well, they've resorted to shootouts. What is this, Tombstone? I'll be your Huckleberry. You know what I mean? So the conditions there, here's what's interesting. So they build these houses out of, let's see if I have any other ones in here to show you. They build these houses out of like pallets and palm fronds and trash and all kinds of other things. Okay, here's one right here. Look at this. What is that? That's crazy, right? So I live in Phoenix. It gets up to 121 degrees. It gets up to 121 degrees there, maybe more. So you're living in these places, maybe with tin and whatnot. Okay, and here's the other thing. So here's the thing on the entrance here. You're almost there. So it just looks like a bunch of graffiti and whatnot, but they also don't have, I don't remember if I highlighted this in my little stories here. They don't have running water, so they all go to this place right here. And that's where they take their baths and their showers. And there were some other pictures I found of people in there and stuff, but that's like a hot spring or whatever, and it flows out from the bottom, so people, you just climb down this ladder and you take your shower and you're good. But then there's also a place where they can take like a communal bath kind of thing. So it's just really, it's really strange. Okay, and so they said, so the people that live there, the identity of the place is something that people find attractive as the last free place. But it says the slabs invite you to make a place, and there's an infrastructure that can invite you, but there's something about not being reached. It's off the grid in a sense, because the people there clearly don't want to be found. So that's what's interesting. There's like something about disappearing, they say, right? So could you guys live in a house like this? Could you live in a house like this if nobody would ever bother you? With no running water, no electricity, you have to take a bath in public in front of other people, clothes or sans clothes, it doesn't matter. Could you live in a place like that? Could you actually do that? And would something that's lawless be something that's appealing to you? You know what I mean? So during the winter months, this is interesting because snowbirds come there. There's about 150 people that live there during the year, they say. And in the winter, about 4,000 people show up and they just come and live. And so what's interesting, I think, is that it's mostly elderly retirees, snowbirds, okay? And they come there for the lack of fees. Oh, Nisi says it's like the res. Okay, yeah, so exactly, that's interesting. It's like the res. So that makes sense. And it's kind of sad in a little way, isn't it? Like, but maybe not. I mean, these people are living the way they want to live. I need to go there. I need to travel there. If anyone wants to go with me, let's do a little documentary. Let's go. Let's check it out because I think that would be a very interesting story. Okay. So the snowbirds go there, and then the other people, the permanent residences, are known as slabbers. Okay. And they most often end up there due to poverty, which is a little bit sad. Like I said, no electricity, fresh water, sewage. They're forced to rely on solar panels and their own waste system. Okay. They have, let's see, they share one communal shower, which is that thing that I showed you, 100 yards away. It's this thing. So I don't know. I'm sure you don't have to schedule a time or whatever. You just go there. There's another picture I found with chairs sitting there. So you just wait and you just take your shower. Okay. So sort of like camping in a sense. So that's Kabir. Hi, I'm back. Hi, Kabir. So here's what's interesting. The lack of government is what drives many people to the free land of Slab City. With no rules or laws, though, it is said that some squabbles have resulted in RVs being set aflame and even shootouts. So what is this? Like Tombstone? I'll be your Huckleberry. Nisi says, I'll travel to the res with you again. Okay, Nisi, we're going to do it. We're going to do it, and we're going to do it, you guys, a documentary, and we're going to make a little thing out of it. So Nisi, I'm holding you to it because it's like 4 hours away. So we'll go, but we're not going to stay there. You can stay in Airbnbs there. I don't want to. I don't want to. I'm not better than everybody, but I don't want to. It scares me a little bit, but I do want to go see it. So yeah, okay. It's a plan. Okay. So having shootouts, you guys, this is crazy. So it says, away from the hustle and bustle of city living, the campsite features our own community, library, golf course, sculpture garden, 2 live music stages, and several social clubs. Social clubs? Several social clubs. I have to know what this looks like, okay? So then the most popular site there probably is this place called Salvation Mountain. And this is what it looks like. And it's this guy I'll talk about in a second here. Salvation Mountain, here it is. It took this guy a long time to build. So over 20 years, this guy, Leonard Knight, lived out of his truck and worked continually on this colorful art mountain, which marks the entrance to Slab City. Okay. He was finally forced to leave the mountain due to failing health, but still enjoyed local legend status. Of course, I mean, if it takes somebody 20 years to build something, you're pretty much going to be a legend. And he received many letters from well-wishers. He's since died, but you can still visit and donate paint and stuff. So Nisi said, I bet there are gnomes, pink flamingos, and pineapple knockers there too. That's an indication of a swinger. So that's hilarious. Yes, I bet there are. You never know. Like, it's just weird. I can't live without my phone for 30 minutes. It's not that I have to look at it every 30 minutes, but I postpone camp tonight by 20 minutes because I was on the phone a lot. I was calling, texting, trying to schedule this, that kind of thing. So I couldn't live without it. I couldn't, Okay, so this guy did this, and referred to as the last free on Earth, anarchist RV town. So anarchist also is like a lawless kind of place, right? So correct me if I'm wrong. Nisi says, oh yeah, I put that on there. I lost my train of thought. Okay, what am I doing here? Okay, so things to know before you go. It is, you drive toward the Nyland Highway on 111, you turn east on the street by United Grocery, and you travel 3.5 miles to the city. Salvation Mountain, that thing that I showed you, the thing that took this guy 20 years to build, is the entrance to Slab City. So besides Nisi's going to go with me. Would any of you travel here? Do you have anything like this around where you live? Because this is not far from where we live. And here's the interesting thing. They have a church there. This is funny because I don't know if the picture is going to come out that well because for some reason it came in very, very small. There's a little tiny church, but it looks like a trailer, right? So I imagine it to be like that movie, Blast from the Past. Did you guys ever see that? I'm going to play you this. Hang on one second. Blast from the Past is a really funny movie with Brendan Fraser. I think it's like the late 90s. Here it is right here. It's not a very clear picture. It comes up through the bottom of this bar.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
So just because this man's...
Oh, God.
Oh, sorry.
God save me. Oh, for I have seen the light. I come.
God dang it, sorry. I didn't mean to do it. So he leaves, and I'm not sure. Okay, here it is.
Leave my elevator alone.
Okay, that's Christopher Walken, by the way, who's amazing. And I need to find my page on here. Where are you? Where are you? Here we are. Okay, so he says, leave my elevator alone. And then they start this little chant, and it's like, leave my elevator alone. So it's like the things that people follow. So I want to know what that church in Slab City talks about, you know? So every time, well, you should watch that movie later, but it's interesting how it's an unincorporated, lawless community, but then there's these things that they build around. So they have, you know, the library, a couple of golf courses. I want to know if these golf courses look like are I guarantee you executives from, you know, LA are not going there to do their golfing. So it says, as Slab City grows, the community of outcast squatters and desert dwellers grapples with the cost of its unique freedom. So this is coming from a website called roadtrippers.com. So they went out there. It says, it's created by transient freedom-seeking people like these, all living off the grid in trailers, tents, lean-tos, that kind of thing. But the word city is a bit of a misnomer. There is no connection to the main power grid or water services, like I said. There's a general lack of basic amenities. So I want to know what these Airbnb places are like. Do they have water and food and all that kind of stuff? Streets are made of hardened dirt. Most structures are built from salvaged materials, and packs of dogs roam the area just free. Okay, so but since it began, so it's gone through a number of significant transformations. So now they have, like I said, 150 people in the summer, and more people have started moving in. So that's funny too. They're like, oh, 150 people, but 4,000 in the winter. So when you bring more people, you bring more problems. Okay, so with a bigger population comes real city problems like theft and drug abuse, and influx of trash, and the challenge of successfully starting community programs. So although it's like a lot of transient people, and people probably living off Social Security checks and things like that, there's still an interest in creating, like outreach program, community programs, libraries, golf courses, things like that. So I'm kind of interested to see where this goes. So the camp's tagline might be the last free place, but as you know, freedom isn't always free, right? It's owned actually by the state of California. The whole land is owned by the state of California. So it technically makes the people that live there squatters, okay? So today the remote community has some elements of a bona fide city with, named streets, like I said, Salvation, Martin. It has a mountain. It has more than a dozen individual neighborhoods within its limits, which is interesting. So there's a neighborhood in there called California Ponderosa, and I didn't get a picture of it. I'm so sorry. But it's a guy with a white beard who introduces himself as Spider, Spyder. And it's the nucleus of Ponderosa is a makeshift kitchen, bar / outdoor living room made out of plywood, sheet metal, wooden pallets, tarps, and a whole host of other found materials. Okay. So during the time of year when the snowbirds come, so in the winter, he charges people to stay at his camp. So he has a wife and kids there. He has 3 kids. Okay. He charges everybody $125 a month, and then they get a free breakfast and a dinner for that. Okay. So he also is very proud of it because he has his own outhouse and an outdoor shower facility. So I don't know how he hooked that up, but he's living the high life there. Okay. So this is what appeals to some of the snowbirds because they come for this certain amenities and the lack of having to pay certain fees. Okay. So is this something you could do? I don't know. I don't know. All right. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Oh, no. There we go. I forgot to do that. And we're talking about Slab City. It's just fun. So Spider first moved to the Slabs. Let's see when this article came out. 2020. So then it would be 10 years ago. He didn't intend to stay. So this is interesting to me. So you guys ever watched the movie The Hills Have Eyes? That's a scary movie, but he visited there 10 years ago. He didn't intend to stay. He had 3 kids, but then he had vehicle troubles. So he sold his truck and set up a campsite across from the street from Ponderosa. And then he eventually bought out the owner and then started to run his own business. So that's what's interesting. Do you, I just don't get how you go from, so even as a snowbird, so say, it's somebody from Montana or Minnesota or North Dakota or something, and they come down here and then they live as a squatter for a few months and then they go back to their homes up north. Like it's a very interesting concept to me, especially with the way this place is laid out and what the building materials are made out of. Okay. So Spider says, if you go to New York, Boston, San Diego, wherever you have these types of people in the cities, you just choose to ignore them. So he says this is just the same as anywhere else. He's just providing a service to people. Okay. So as he explains it, Slab City encompasses a wide spectrum of humanity in one small desert plot, including addicts, former convicts, and people who would otherwise be homeless. So he said, this is what's interesting about it. This is the place that you can't ignore them because you actually see how they live. So to me, that's really interesting. You can't ignore the homeless and the crazy peeps and whatever because you're actually seeing how they live every day, and they're all in this little community. So there's a car covered with baby doll heads. There's a place called the East Jesus's Outdoor Museum. And I don't think I got a picture of that, but they have all kinds of things, made out of old TVs and whatnot. I don't think I got it. Sorry about that. But I do have this. I don't think I shared this place with you. And what I want to know is so does anybody lock their doors? They obviously don't work. So what do they do in their day? If they have music, do they have concerts and stuff there? Who goes in there? So, so some of these people think with the people that are bringing in the golf courses and things like that, the people that live there, they're trying to make it more livable. And these people are scared that they're gentrifying it. Okay. And they say the town may not actually be lawless because the slabs are regularly patrolled by local police officers. Okay, but it says after 7 decades, it still offers certain freedoms that are difficult to find elsewhere. 7 decades. So Spider, for one, credits the existence of his mini desert empire to the anarchic nature of Slab City. He said, in a big city, I could never own anything like this, he says. They have too many laws about what to do and what not to do. Out here, nobody tells me what to do. So the place that you can live, is this a place that you would like to live? Would you like to visit this place? You look at some of these things, it's a very different place. So our place in Canada, like we have an outhouse, that's that kind of thing, you know. I'll show this again. I mean, could you stay in a place like this? I'll look up the Airbnb places actually and probably give you an update or whatever on that. It's just interesting. But regardless, you know, we're all people, right? And so there's too much tumultuousness in the world right now. So hey, let's learn a little bit about places and let people live. Just let people, you know, like, what is it? Live and let live. And I'm done now. Peace and love, friends. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Thursday, we have MTGF Bomb, so join us at 8 o'clock Central Time, 7 o'clock Mountain Time. Sorry. I'll see you next week. Toodles.